Hello, my name is Dr. Bell McRoy. I'm your virtual PLC lead for 6 through 12 band, and welcome to our first March webinar series. Let's jump right in. This first topic of March is going to be about arts advocacy and community engagement. And in my mind, I think of advocacy as the most talked about subject that band directors really don't talk about. And community engagement, boots on the ground advocacy, advocating for your program in a performance based way. So, actual boots on the ground, actually getting out there into the community and fighting for your program by being involved and engaged with your community. So, the NAFME position statement on advocacy says this. Advocacy, which is defined as the act of speaking or writing in support of something or someone, is essential to every music educator's career and to the profession as a whole. Every music educator needs to be a strong advocate for viable, sequential, enduring music programs for all students. Okay, so that kind of gets us into the state of mind of where we are and what we're going to be talking about today. Advocacy and the music educator. These are 4 questions that came to mind when thinking about this whole idea of advocacy. Did you have a course in advocacy in college or a portion of a course committed to advocacy? Do you know where to start when it comes to advocating for your program? What have you done to advocate for your program already? And why do we need to advocate for our programs? Doesn't everyone know that music makes you smarter by now? We've been beating this same drum for a long time. But let's go through these questions. I don't know about you, but I did not have a course in advocacy in college. And I remember thinking that that was something that we really needed once I got out into the workforce and saw people that I knew very well rift or, let go or laid off because we were in such a budgetary strain in the community that I started my career in. And so advocacy was important from the very beginning when I started teaching in 2002. And I wish I knew then what I know now, of course, but we didn't get that in college, when I went to school. So when I became a teaching assistant during my doctoral work, that was a project that we had, advocacy and how to fight for a program that was in being threatened to be disbanded or to be dissolved. And it was a great experience, I think, for the students. They had to advocate formally to 2 different groups. One group was the Board of Education. The other group was the parent, PTO, parent teacher organization. So it was a great way for them to start thinking about, how do I argue for my program? How do I fight for these kids? And so I don't know about you, but I didn't have that training before getting out there and just having to learn it on the job. Do you know where to start when it comes to advocating for your programs? It used to be really difficult to find information about advocating and how to advocate, and you'd have to make your own resources and figure it out on your own. But now there are so many resources that you can just go to the internet. Of course, NAFME has done an incredible job of kind of getting these toolkits together for us to use for advocating for our programs. So there's so many resources out there. All you have to do is type in advocacy for music education and you'll find stuff. What have you done to advocate for your program? So really start thinking about the formal and informal ways that you have advocated for your program already. I think that's really important because I guarantee you that you're doing more than you probably think. And finally, why do we need to advocate for our programs? Doesn't everybody know that music makes you smarter by now? That's a no. We still have to advocate. Unfortunately, music, just like the other arts, are sometimes seen as ancillary. They're not always seen as essential to the development and maturation of a student. And so, words, y'all, words. And so it's important that we still beat that drum. We can't let it go yet. It's not time. Still have work to do. So where do I start with advocating for my program? Where do I go? How do I get started with this? The best advocacy. Now, this is from the NAFME advocacy position statement, but this is also what I had written down about the best type of advocacy. And it's a strong, successful program. If you have a strong, consistently successful program, that is the best advocacy possible. And so they state one of the best forms of preventative advocacy is a strong, vital, quality music education program. It's really hard to dissolve something that is really successful and it's reaching a lot of students and it is engaged in the community and it's a part of the community. It's really difficult to dissolve something like that without a lot of pushback. And so having a vital and successful and sustainable program is really important. It's the first step. There is something called informal advocacy, and this is what you probably already do. You just don't consider it advocacy. So engaging your audience at concerts and other public performances, engaging them in the music learning process, focusing on the student. So describe what it takes to make that performance happen and focus on the work that the students put in. Focus on the students, not on your work because you get paid for your work, but focus on what the students gain from this experience. You never know who's going to be listening. You never know who's in that audience listening to what you're saying. Invite administrators, not just your school level administrators, into your band room. I have been lucky that throughout my career, pretty much every either associate, assistant, or lead superintendent has been in my band room at some point to watch the work being done. That has helped me be able to have the things I have and be able to get the support because I've always been very open with the administration, making sure that they are as present as possible. We invite them to band camp. We invite them to band class. We invite them to all the concerts. We invite them to our showcase, band showcase at the end of marching band camp. Invite them to everything. Have them watch the students work. That's where the magic is. People see the performances and they think that's the magic. The day to day is the magic. It's where the kids are getting their hands dirty and really working hard. That's something administrators need to see. They need to see that. And they need to see that when they're not in there trying to observe you for teaks. They need to do that while they're in there focused on the kids and the work that they're doing. So what does a strong advocate look like? A strong advocate isn't going to look like one particular thing. I feel like my face is hiding some of my Bitmojis there, so I'm just going to slide myself over. But a strong advocate is vocal. You have to be vocal. Don't shy away from speaking up about your program's successes. This makes it easier to speak up about your program's needs. So if your county administration, your board of education knows that you had this many students make all state, you had this many students make district honor band, you had this many students going to Jan Fest or to Troy or whatever, you are able to ask them for things later on. And so you're not feeling as if, well, I've not had any contact with them. The only contact I ever have with them is when I'm asking for something. It's great to have contact with them when you don't have to ask for something, but you're letting them know that this is the work your students are doing. Be visible. Be a visible member of the school community. So don't just hide away in your band room. It's really easy because we have so much to do. But trying to be as visible, try to be as present, especially at events where non-band parents and community members, other community stakeholders will be involved so that they can see you and they can get to know you. Be accessible. Make sure you share your contact information so that people can reach you. Share your Google Voice number if that's what you use. Share your phone number, your office number, your email, your Instagram account, your Facebook, whatever you want to share with them so that they can contact you because people will not send a check to someone that they don't know. Just remember that. All right. So it is really easy to leave advocacy to the band parents. It's easy to allow them to fight the fight for us. And that's not exactly what we want. Get rid of all this junk here. There we go. That's better. So we don't want to leave that to band parents because while they are important, especially when it comes to formal advocacy, the band director is the biggest advocate, especially when it comes to informal advocacy. And remember, it's a part of our job, part of our job. So you center your advocacy work around the needs of your students. It's not about you, it's about them. And it's about the program that feeds them. And when we take ourselves out of the equation, advocacy often becomes much easier. Lots of teachers are very reluctant to be advocates for their programs. It feels uncomfortable. But when you think about it for your kids, it makes it a lot easier to fight for them because it is about them. And our job is to nurture them, develop them, help them become the future citizens and policymakers. And so it's easy to fight when you know the purpose of the fight. And so I always think of myself as the music educator for my community, the community that I'm teaching in. So it's our job to educate our students, but it's also our job to educate other students that aren't in our programs, faculty, staff, other stakeholders, and the community at large. It's really important that we become the music education experts in our community because that's essentially what we are. So, community engagement, this is the next part of this whole advocacy idea. And like I said before, I think of community engagement as boots on the ground advocacy is every time you get out into the community and you are working with the community and you are being a part of the community and you're engaging with the community and you're performing for them, you are advocating for your group every single time you do that. Getting out into the community is so important, but it isn't easy. So you've got to make sure you have a plan. The more you give to the community, the more the community will be willing to give to your program. So that's something to think about. Now, we're going to ask some hard questions right now. Let's get into that. All right. So these are some of the hard questions that you have to ask yourself when creating your plan for community engagement, boots on the ground advocacy. First, how do you get the community to even notice your program, especially if you're a little bit more new to the community? How do you get them to notice your program? How does your program become an integral part of the community? Do your band vision, mission, and goals match the community's vision for the band program? And is your program giving the school and or community what they need? Okay, let's start breaking these down. So, how do you get the community to notice your program? Find performance opportunities. Sometimes the best places to start are in your own backyard. And that's just going to be, just going to move myself over here a little bit. I'm in the way. There I go. All right. So sometimes the best places are your feeder programs. So elementary school, middle school, all the things. So these are great places to start. Those are the future students that you will teach. So it's a great way to reach out to the community by going to your elementary school, your middle schools, and performing there. Research community events that are happening. And community events that are revamping are the best opportunities to slide in there to something that you've never done before and become a really important part of the community. If they're revamping, that means they're trying to fill spaces most likely with new things. If you've never been a part of this activity, this is a great way to get started with a certain organization and creating a partnership where you give, they give. Okay. And how does your program become an integral part of the community? As you see here, all of my little buddies, my little forest buddies, I'm right there in the mix with them. How do you get that to happen for your band program? by consistently showing up for even the smallest events, even if it's something that's so tiny and is not going to be a lot of exposure, but it will mean a lot to that community organization. It's worth it. It's worth it. If it's going to benefit the students and the community, it's worth it. Show up for even the smallest events. Consistently deliver a quality product at these events. Now, remember, these events are not going to require you to have a judge's sheet and someone's judging you and making all of these comments about your program. That's not what these community events are for. The product that you put out at these events is more about the students looking like they're having fun and actually having fun, enjoying themselves and doing what they do very well. That's what's really important. And then having your students be polite and engaging, it's always great. Have some of the students talk. You don't do all of the talking. The kids are really at the focus. They're at the core of all of this community engagement so that the community sees the program, not the program's leader. So even if you leave a program, that program will be embedded in the community, and it doesn't matter who's at the helm. What matters is that the program is there. All right, so do your band vision and mission match the community's vision? That's really important. What does the school community want from their band program? So that's going to take, again, boots on the ground. That's going to take you getting out into the school, asking questions, sending surveys through advisement or through homeroom or whatever, asking kids what they want to see. Do they have any requests for the marching band? Do they have any requests for the concert band, jazz band, small ensembles? What do they want to see? Do they want to see this or that or what? Getting that information can help spark some real new ideas about how to get the school community engaged in what you're doing. That's the first step. What do other stakeholders want from their band program? So, getting ideas from the other community members about what's important, what they want to see, not necessarily letting them decide the path of your program, but asking them what they need, what they want. And then most importantly, what do the students involved in the program want from their band program? If they're going to be boots on the ground advocates and going out into the community, they need to feel invested in what they're doing and not just show up because they were told to show up, but because what they're doing means something to them and they are enjoying it. All right. So ask yourself this question. Are you giving the community what they need? Are you giving the community what they need? Remember, it's not our job to give the community everything that they want, but it is our job to give the community and students what they need. So, what do they need in their musical education? That is what we have to focus on. Not necessarily what they want, but what they need, what needs to happen. And so, of course, being a teacher, we always have our different graphics. And this is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is a way to say to yourself, okay, if I can do this, if I can work with this Maslow's hierarchy, I know that I can figure out what the community needs as opposed to just what they want. And sometimes you just got to eat your veggies and just not always be fun. Sometimes it has to be about education and it has to be about growth and development. So eat your greens. Sometimes you just got to do it. All right. So all of this theoretical stuff that we just talked about, what does this look like in a real life band program? Let's talk about it. So, partner with an elementary school. That is something that we did about 2 years ago. And we have been partnered with Barnett Shoals Elementary. They're one of our feeders. A lot of the kids that you see in these pictures, and we rotate out, different kids have different assignments. So we'll take a portion of the pep band here and a portion of the pep band there and portion over here so that kids don't get burned out. And this is one of my favorite pictures. This was their storybook parade. And this is actually their principal, and she is awesome. And she's invited us into their school for their PBIS celebrations, their student success celebrations. We play for them when they are paraded in the students that are getting recognized, we play cadences for them, and we have the color guard with the pom poms so that they feel really special. And it's a great time. Of course, we didn't get to do any of that this school year, but this was the last 2 years we've been doing that, and it's super fun, and the kids really get into it. And we also do the same thing at our middle school feeder. It's across the street. They opened their new building. We performed there right after marching band practice. We just walked over, performed, walked back to the school. It was a great time. So partnering with the elementary school can be a great way to get kids engaged, get all of these parents out here engaged. You never know who's sitting in that audience. You never know. Go to your local mall. This may sound weird, but it is something that we've been doing for the past few years. We are the unofficial official band of Santa Claus. So we got this very interesting phone call from one of the publicity and marketing managers for the mall in Athens, asking if we could bring Santa Claus in. There's a Santa's arrival parade, and the parade goes around the mall on the perimeter. And then we go into the mall, as you can see here, and we set up and we bring Santa in with a little Santa pep rally. It's super fun. It's super, you know, fun for the kids to do. All the little kids get to see them. The parents get to be there. We have a good time, and Santa gets a pep rally. Santa is probably one of the only Santas that comes into ESPN, and then sleigh ride. So Santa has a very unique entrance in Athens. And then this is a picture of us marching. This was the first year we did the event. This is my former assistant band director, Rose Wilmot Fu, who is now at Walnut Grove High School, doing a great job there. But this was our first time doing this event, and we had a blast. We really did. So we took that idea, kind of ran with it. And so we've been doing this consistently from year to year. But we also have lots of parades, county fairs, and pep rallies. Oh my. So it's all over the place. We go everywhere. We play for Senior Decision Day on the front steps of the Fine Arts Building. We took the kids to the fair. They played for the fair goers because the fair came back after 20 years of not being in Clark County, came back, and our kids were able to spend time at the fair, as you can see here, and enjoy some fair time. We play for different ceremonies around town. They like us to play for their participants. So this was a teacher excellence reception, and our drum line brought the teachers in, and then they were able to feed the drum line afterwards, which they loved. And this is a jazz band that we did. It was a tribute concert we did with the alumni of the school. So there are lots and lots of opportunities out there. You just have to kind of search a little bit. And once you start searching and you show up to one event, you'll start getting invitations for more and more events. All right, don't panic. You don't have a marching band. You teach middle school, or you teach at a performing arts high school that doesn't have a football program. It's fine. What do you do then? Chamber ensembles are great. My husband is really great about this. He always has chamber ensembles at his school, and they've in the past gone to play at senior living facilities and engage those members with the kids playing and then meeting them and talking to them. And it was amazing how many people they found out actually were former band students that lived in this facility. So it's a great way to get out into the community using chamber ensembles, using your jazz band, using your concert band, staging a fine arts night at your school and bringing the community to you. So having all of the parts and pieces of your fine arts program, it can either be for your school or for your cluster or for your county, and bringing the community into that is a great way to show off all of the moving parts of your fine arts program. But learn this lesson the hard way. Don't forget to take turns so that kids don't get burned out. So if your jazz band played and then you need a pep band for something, your jazz band played on Thursday night, but you need a pep band for Friday night, probably try to choose different kids than the ones that were in the jazz band as well, so that you can rotate them out. And if you're a smaller program, we're kind of a medium program, but if you're a smaller program and you aren't able to take turns, that's where you have to make those decisions. We can do this, but we won't be able to do this. But maybe if we can do your event in a few months, this different event, or play at your farmer's market next month instead of this month, that'll give us time for the kids not to get overwhelmed because they are still students. So just make sure you don't overwhelm the students and yourself and yourself. And advocacy is a two-way street. It really is. Get out of the way. Um, Getting out into the community is the most powerful form of advocacy. Remember that idea of boots on the ground advocacy. And don't forget to invite county administration and board of education members to your concerts and events. It's really important to bring them into your world so they can see the kids in their environment, their home base. And then the more present, visible, and involved your program is in the community, the more engaged, invested, and supported the community, or supportive, excuse me, the community will be. Okay? All right. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me using the Godot Community 6 through 12 Band discussion board. We want to share some ideas and tell us what you are doing to advocate for your program, things that you do to make this whole advocating for music education happen in your community so that we can get some ideas from each other. And finally, you can reach us here at our Department of Education sites, also our YouTube channel here, our Fine Arts Facebook page, and our Fine Arts Twitter account are linked there as well. And I hope that this sparks some ideas and that we can discuss some more ideas, because I would love to hear what you're doing and share information about what we've done. And I think this is a great way to view advocacy, not in a formal way where you give a speech, but really viewing it as boots on the ground, getting out there and showing off the product and really putting all of the focus on the needs of the students in your program. So good luck to you. I hope you get to advocate some this coming spring, and I hope that that pays off for you. All right. We're here for you, and I look forward to talking with you soon. See you next time. Bye-bye.